Are you looking to create a butterfly oasis in your backyard? Hi, I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings, and today I am out in our butterfly house. This is the house where the greenhouse where we have raised monarch butterflies in for, I think we're going on 3 or 4 years now. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at plant varieties, both annual and perennial, that would be good choices to put into your garden if you are indeed looking to attract those butterflies and hummingbirds and those pollinators into your garden. So we're going to start off, I'm going to tell you the one main plant that is super important, especially if you are looking to have those monarch butterflies come to your garden. So milkweed, also known as Asclepias, is the host plant for monarch butterflies. I'm sure you've heard a lot about the monarch butterflies in the news lately, of how their numbers and their populations are decreasing. So if you are looking to help with planting the proper plants to attract those monarchs to your garden, you would want Asclepias, also known as milkweed. There's a lot of different varieties of milkweed on the market, and they're not picky. They just want food. So milkweed is a host plant. So what exactly is a host plant? A host plant is a plant that the monarchs will lay their eggs on. So the only plants they'll lay their eggs on are the milkweed. Once those eggs have been laid, it takes about 3, maybe 4 or 5 days for those eggs to hatch into those teeny tiny microscopic looking little caterpillars. Well, those caterpillars, they continue to grow. You've heard of the hungry caterpillar before, because they are eating the foliage, the leaves on the milkweed plant. It is just absolutely incredible to see how much food that those little guys go through in their life cycle, which is approximately 2 weeks or so. So they would eat you out of house and home if they were your child. So it's really important to have a lot of milkweed in your garden to provide plenty of food for those monarchs. In addition to being the plant where they lay their eggs on, that is also the plant they eat. And there's also flowers on them at certain times of the year, which provide a nectar source for those butterflies as well. So in the butterfly house, we load it up with milkweed, because especially once we have a pretty good population of the butterflies going, they're constantly laying eggs, and we want to make for sure that if we're having this place, this greenhouse that these monarchs are in, we want to make sure that we have plenty of food for them to live and survive on. So also with the monarch butterflies, we do raise them in this enclosed space, but we are frequently coming in like every few days and just releasing them out into the wild, because we want to raise them and we want to let them go in the wild so they can continue with their life cycle. So let's go ahead, take a look at some of the plants that would be perfect for your garden if you want to have those butterflies. We'll go ahead and take a walk through the butterfly house and show you some of the various annuals, perennials, and shrubs that have been planted in this space. You can see this is inside of a greenhouse. This is an old greenhouse that we recycled. We have some really, really fine screening on it, so that way it keeps out any other bugs. We don't want to raise, a whole bug population in here. So we've got really thin screening. It's called like a thrip screen, and that way it keeps all those bugs out of here, except for ideally just the butterflies that we bring in. Now I do know that there is some other things that get in here, so we do kind of monitor that as well. We will eventually bring in our biological program into the butterfly house, which is where we introduce some good bugs to go after some of the bad bugs. So some of the bad bugs would potentially be thrip or spider mite or even aphids. Obviously, we don't like to spray anything on our plants, especially because this is a pollinator garden. We're raising butterflies. We don't want to harm any of the plants or butterflies in here by using any chemicals. That totally defeats the purpose. If you're using chemicals in your garden and you're trying to attract those pollinators, it's just kind of you're going to ruin what you're doing there. You're not going to have those pollinators, because essentially if you use spray, you're going to kill them off. So that's why we use good bugs to go after the bad bugs. Some of the plants we have in here, so let's get that list started here. We have butterfly bush. Butterfly bush is a great source for flowers. It blooms nearly all summer long. They're not blooming right now, but they will be probably in a month or so. This is the Miss series, Miss Violet, Miss Ruby, and Miss Pearl from Proven Winners. And that'll fill up that whole area as summer goes along. We also have a few of the new Nemesia in here, or newer. These have been around for a few years, but these are the Aromance Mulberry. And I like that these are placed right here because they're such a fragrant annual. And so as you walk into the butterfly house, you kind of get this sweet smell from the Aromance Mulberry. We've got the Nepeta Cat's Pajamas. We use a lot of that in the butterfly house because it is a very long blooming perennial. Once it stops flowering, we just give it a nice little light trim, and within just a week or so, it's back to flowering again. We do have a lot of aquapots. I shouldn't say a lot. We have 3 aquapots in here as well, just to kind of show off some beautiful container combinations. In this particular one, we have Salvia, which will be the Thriller, and I believe it's the Rockin' Fuchsia. So this is going to get really tall. We've got it planted with some Calibrachoa. Also, we have some nice purple lantana, and then some of the Mizu, which is going to be just kind of a nice succulent-y looking trailer in this container combination. So we'll be sure to kind of update you as that fills in throughout the spring and throughout the summer. It's also very important that, of course, we have milkweed in this garden because, as mentioned, you need to have a lot of milkweed if you're looking to raise those monarchs because they go through a lot of food in just a short amount of time. So there is probably 6, 7, 8 different varieties of milkweed that we have in here. One of the most popular that is, I think, the most readily available is Asclepias tuberosa. And tuberosa is the one that you'll often find in ditch banks when you're driving down the freeway or out into fields. It's more of a drought-tolerant milkweed. It's got that recognizable orange flower on it. And this is a perennial, so this should come back year after year in your garden, obviously depending on where you live. In addition to monarchs, we also like to raise a few black swallowtails. So it's important that we have dill and fennel in here, as parsley also works as the host plant for those particular butterflies. So with those, we wait until they get out into our landscape, and then we grab a few of the caterpillars, bring them inside, and start raising the black swallowtails in the butterfly house as well. So you might be asking, why do we raise these butterflies? What's the point of it? Why? Well, the why is for education purposes. As we know, those monarchs, they are declining in population, as I mentioned. So the more education we can give to people on how to raise them and what's needed for their life cycle to continue, the better off hopefully those monarchs will be. If we can get people to buy that Asclepias tuberosa, get it in their garden, and create little monarch, landing places, the better off they're going to be. They're going to have more spots to find more food, and just hopefully just do our part to bring awareness to the monarch and how you can get them in your yard and what we can do to help with their population. Here's some more Nepeta. Mentioned that this is that long blooming perennial, another sample of it. We did kind of a grouping here of 3. Anytime I can find perennials that are long bloomers, I love to do that because it's always nice to have just constant splashes of color. We know annuals give constant splashes of color, but if there's some perennials that will come back year after year, that also is kind of fun. The yellow plant you're seeing there, I can't talk about that one quite yet. That is a trial plant that we are currently trialing. I can tell you, should I tell you what type of plant it is? I probably shouldn't tell you what type of plant it is either. If you can tell, go ahead and feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. I love the color of it though, because it looks like buttered popcorn. So just a fun plant, long blooming perennial. It's to be grown in part shade to shady areas. I'm giving you a little bit of hint here to kind of maybe help you figure out what it is. But it's a fantastic plant. Comes in a lot of colors as well. There's another little hint. But we'll see how it handles the humidity here in this space. Another plant we love is Allium Millennium. Oh my goodness, when this is in bloom, those butterflies just swarm to this Allium Millennium. They love it. So if you're looking for a great pollinator plant, get some Allium Millennium in your garden. Some great annuals. We have Gomphrena Forest Plum. This is going to get about 18 inches, and the butterflies love those little circle ball flowers. I like them because they're whimsy and fun, and they just add a lot of interest in the garden. Lantana is another great annual for hummingbirds and butterflies. This is the Royal Cosmo. I like Royal Cosmo because it's got that nice pinky, orangey, yellow blooms on it. And this is going to get pretty big, filling out probably this whole corner in the garden here. Here's some milkweed that actually came back from last year. So you can see how it's a little bit more further along than what those tuberosa were that I showed you. Anytime we can get them to come back, I like that, because not only am I not having to plant every year, but the plants are just bigger and more mature, meaning more food. There we've got some tall phlox, which will be good mid-summer or early summer here in the greenhouse, because everything's a little bit quicker to bloom. More butterfly bush. This is the Pugster series, so they stay very compact. Typically in the landscape, they only get about 2 foot tall, but here in the butterfly house, because it's, again, premium growing area, they get 2 to 3 foot tall and just gorgeous big blooms. Some more gomphrena and lantana planted along the sidewalk. We have sedum, which is great for that later season pollinator flowers. So when you're planting out these spaces, you want to make sure you have plants for nectar, pollen early in the season, but you want to make sure there's also food sources throughout the summer and into the fall as well. Some more Monarda coming up there. Another little grouping of the Asclepias tuberosa that we have planted. We have a lot of petunias planted in here as well. This little corner is a bunch of different assorted petunia colors. There's also some Angelonia in here, which will be kind of a nice upright thriller. Got the beautiful candy corn spirea. Isn't that gorgeous? Check out that foliage. And there's a bunch of flowers on there, buds. So this will be really pretty when this opens. So you may be wondering, when are we getting those caterpillars into the butterfly house? Well, to be honest, that's a very good question. This year, it's proven to be pretty hard to get our hands on caterpillars. So we are hoping that we'll be able to get some the beginning of May. That's if our source has them available to us. Otherwise, we may just have to wait until we start seeing them out in the landscape and then bringing them in here to raise. So I don't know. We'll see. Our hope and goal is that we'll have the caterpillars in here at the beginning of May so we can start the season off. There's a beautiful honeysuckle. You can see all the flowers on there. That sensation. Lots of buds, actually. So that, too, it's going to smell wonderful once it starts blooming. It's important to have some nice big shrubs in this space as well, because not only do the butterflies like to hang out, on warm days, they also do like to be shaded as well. In the corner, there's a nice big lilac, and they love to hang out in that lilac, as well as hanging out in this butterfly bush here behind this metal butterfly we have. So they'll go and enjoy all the flowers and such, but then they'll rest underneath these nice big leaves. It just gives them a little shading and a little cooling for the hot days where they need a little place to kind of go and just chill out and cool off a little bit. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll walk up to this plant and give it a little shake and just watch the butterflies just go, fluttering all around. It's so pretty to watch. More of the lantana and gomphrena planted here along the edge. Some marigolds giving a nice big splash of color. And the variegated foliage you're seeing there, that's the sun patient. That's the rose, tropical rose. So that's going to have some really pretty pink flowers on it. Sun beanie. This is a new plant we put in here this year, so that will be kind of fun to watch and see how the butterflies like that. There's also coneflowers, a lot of coneflowers. There's asters. Asters is another great perennial. Oh, what do we have? Some dahlias in here. Salvia, veronica. There's delphinium. Oh, zinnias. Zinnias is another good annual for the butterflies. So really, there's a lot of different choices that you can use when you're looking to create that butterfly oasis in your garden. Things to take away, pointers to take away is make sure you have a good mix of annuals, perennials, and shrubs. Make sure you have a good array of bloom time. So meaning, you don't want your garden to be all in bloom at the beginning of the season. You want to make sure that you're staggering those annuals, perennials, and shrubs so that something is always in color, so that there's always something that they can have for a nectar source. Make sure that you have the milkweed in the garden, especially if you're looking to attract monarchs. If you're looking to attract the black swallowtails, dill, fennel, parsley. So just when you're creating your butterfly garden, your butterfly oasis, take into mind what it is you're looking to do with that space. Looking to attract the butterflies, make sure you have proper host plants for them. If you're looking to attract just various pollinators and you really aren't necessarily worried about host plants, but you want to have all the nectar sources possible, butterflies, hummingbirds, they love flowers that are tubular. Anything they can kind of stick their little tongues or their little beaks into. Tubular flowers seem to be a favorite of both hummingbirds and butterflies. We like bright colors, and so do the butterflies and hummingbirds. So if you've got a garden that's just full of texture, full of color, I'm sure you're going to be enjoying the butterflies all summer long. We'll put a link below with more information on the butterfly house here at Garden Crossings. As mentioned, it's open usually May through September or October. We'll also be putting links to some of our favorite plants that attract the butterflies and or our host plants for the butterflies here in our garden. Thanks for watching. I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings.